This is OwlUp, where learning happens in minutes, not hours. For a deeper journey, explore all our courses at owlup.co. Now, let's dive in. Welcome back to Manage Your Manager. I'm excited you're here for Chapter 4, where we're diving into one of the trickiest parts of office life, having those conversations you'd rather avoid. Today, we're breaking down what makes a conversation difficult in the first place, so you can spot the warning signs and prepare yourself accordingly. Let's get into it. Managers spend nearly half their time dealing with conflict, yet most employees say their boss is bad at handling it. In one tense meeting, a single sentence can either unlock trust or start a silent war. This episode asks, how do you choose that sentence on purpose? In tech-driven workplaces, the hardest conversations often aren't about technology at all. They're about priorities, power, and performance wrapped in emotion. A stalled project review, a quick sync that turns defensive, a status update that suddenly feels like a trial. These moments decide whether you're seen as a steady partner or a risky bet. What research adds is precision. Productive hard talks don't happen because people are naturally good with people. They happen because someone deliberately manages emotions, names a shared outcome, and steers by evidence instead of impulse. In this episode, we'll treat difficult conversations less like verbal combat and more like a joint debugging session, identifying where the interaction is crashing, tracing the cause, and patching the pattern so the next run goes smoother, for you and for your manager. Some of your toughest moments with a manager don't arrive labeled difficult conversation. They sneak in as a casual comment about missed deadlines, a raised eyebrow in stand-up, a vague, "we need to talk" on your calendar. By the time you realize stakes are high, your pulse is already up and your options feel narrow. This is where preparation matters less like memorizing scripts and more like designing guardrails, knowing your non-negotiables, your data, and your likely triggers. With that in place, you can enter high-heat moments curious instead of cornered, and leave with next steps instead of scars. Numbers-wise, the odds are stacked against you. Most managers aren't skilled at tough conversations, yet they're the ones grading your performance. That means your leverage comes from how you shape the interaction, not from waiting for them to do it right. Start with a mental shift. The goal isn't winning, venting, or proving you're right. It's upgrading the working relationship so the same problem doesn't boomerang back next quarter. That's where psychological safety becomes practical, not theoretical. In a high-safety relationship, you can say, "I disagree," without quietly paying for it later. In a low-safety one, your manager reads every concern as resistance. You can't force safety, but you can send small, safety signals that change the tone. 3 you control immediately. 1. How you enter. Lead with impact on the work, not judgments about the person. Instead of, "You keep changing priorities," try, "When priorities shift mid-sprint, I miss estimates and look unreliable. Can we review how we're deciding changes?" 2. How you test the water. Before diving into your full story, run a quick permission check. "I've noticed a pattern that's affecting my delivery. Are you open to digging into it for 10 minutes? This frames the conversation as collaboration, not ambush. 3. How you handle pushback. When they get defensive, don't match intensity, get more specific. "I'm not saying you don't support the team. I'm focused on what happened in last week's roadmap review and how to avoid a repeat." Conflict modes also matter more than we admit. You'll see your manager switch between at least 3. Directive competitive when deadlines or risks spike. Compromising when time is short. Collaborative when there's room to explore. Your job isn't to label their mode, it's to adjust your ask. With a directive manager in a crunch, pushing for deep exploration will frustrate everyone. Aim for containment. "For this release, can we try X? Afterward, could we do a retro on how we handled changes?" With a more collaborative posture, go bigger. "Could we redesign how we prioritize interrupts for the next quarter?" Like a good sports coach mid-game, you're not just reacting to each play. You're reading the tempo, choosing when to slow things down, and calling a timeout when emotion, ambiguity, or risk starts to spike beyond what the conversation can handle. You can treat each tense interaction with your manager like adjusting how you play a game based on the current score and time left. When stakes spike, say, production is on fire, your style of play should narrow. Fewer topics, shorter sentences, more concrete proposals. In calmer one-on-ones, you can afford to zoom out and ask for context, trade-offs, even norms. Try designing micro moves you can deploy in the moment. For example, when your manager interrupts, don't fight for airtime, claim structure. Let me give you the 20-second version, then you can tell me if I'm focused on the right part. Or when feedback lands vaguely, be more proactive. Translate it into observable behavior. If you saw me being proactive next month, what exactly would I be doing differently? One analogy helps here. Like a jazz musician, you're not throwing away the song, you're improvising around it, staying on the same chord progression, business goals, while changing your phrasing to keep the conversation playable for both of you. Deloitte's 27% gap hints at a bigger shift. Organizations are starting to measure how well people handle tension, not just output. As AI begins flagging hot-button phrases or giving live nudges, pause here, ask a question now, your patterns in tough talks may quietly shape promotions, stretch roles, even which projects you see. Your future advantage isn't avoiding friction, it's showing you can stay curious when the room heats up. Progress here isn't a straight line, it's more like tending a garden. Some talks will bloom, others wilt, but each gives you data about timing, tone, and what this specific manager can hear. As AI tools and metrics quietly track how you handle friction, these experiments become career infrastructure, proof you can stay steady while the ground keeps shifting. Before next week, ask yourself, where am I currently avoiding a hard conversation with my manager, partner, or teammate? And what's the honest story I'm telling myself about why it will go badly? If I applied the episode's idea of leading with curiosity, what 2 specific questions could I open that conversation with instead of jumping straight to my point? And if I assume the other person is at least 10% right, how does that change what I'm willing to acknowledge or apologize for when we finally talk? This was OwlUp, your daily step forward. This series continues with more chapters on OwlUp.co. Visit OwlUp.co to access the complete course and continue your learning journey. See you there!